Today I'm going to show you how to land your first paying nutrition client with a simple step-by-step strategy that'll take people from curious, the people that are always asking you a bunch of questions in your direct messages, but leave you on red when you finally bring up coaching. Yes, those people, it's going to have them begging to pay you for your help in no time. This is the exact process that helped me land my first 100 paying nutrition clients, so I'm super excited to share it with you. Here's my promise. Watch until the end of this video and you'll have absolutely everything you need to start getting paying nutrition clients now. And here's the first step, get them involved. The key to getting people to sign up for your nutrition coaching is to show them that you're the person that can get them results. And let me tell you this, you don't do that by being super smart or educated. Actually, sometimes that can make it less likely that they'll actually pay you or sign up. What you need to do is solve their problems by showing them what they need to do, by pointing out what they're missing instead of just trying to teach them. And at that point, they'll be begging for the next step. I only tell you this because I screwed it up so many times at the beginning of my nutrition coaching career. And there is one specific instance that is burned in my memory where I knew I needed to do things differently. Let me take you back to Dr. Mark's college days. Hey Mark, listen, I got this spring break trip coming up and I need to look super shredded. Can you help me out? Yeah, of course, I'd love to. I do have an exam later this week, but when do you want to get started? As soon as you can, man. I really need this, man. All right, I got you. So I stayed up all night when I should have been studying, pouring my heart and soul and years of knowledge into creating the perfect nutrition and training plan. This was the one thing that was going to help my friend get crazy results. And it was going to be my first real introduction to coaching too. I was so pumped. So I hit send and I sent it off to him. Later that week after my exam, I see this guy again and I ask him how the program is going. He hadn't started it yet. He hadn't even looked at it and he never would, and it broke my heart. And if you're passionate about health and fitness, this probably sounds familiar. Because if you're the person that people know as the fitness and health person, they ask you for your help all the time. And it can burn you out, not because you don't like helping, because they ask and they never do anything about it. And it never goes anywhere. So how are you gonna get people to pay you for coaching when this is the situation? Luckily for me, I developed a foolproof system to get around it, and that's what I'm gonna share with you now. First off, people that pay, they pay attention. So had I just charged spring break guy, he might have said, no, I can't do this, or he might have taken it a lot more seriously. Either way would have saved me a bunch of trouble. For your first couple of clients, you'll probably either do it for free or for really cheap. So how do you get around this problem? And how can you get them to see the value in your coaching and your approach and your knowledge before you even start? Because just telling people what they need to do, it doesn't work. You just can't educate them. This is what I discovered, so I needed to switch gears and find a way around it and get them involved. And then I could show them what was holding them back from reaching their goals and where were the areas for opportunity. And here's how I did it. Since I got most of my clients to do a tracking-based approach, I wanted to get them involved in this process early. Instead of just setting some theoretical tracking targets in a plan, I'd rather get a better sense of what they're actually doing and set numbers based on that, moving towards optimal. So when someone would ask me what they needed to do to get shredded or what type of protein supplement they should be taking, instead of just telling them, I took it a step further. By getting them to track their food for 3 to 5 days in a nutrition tracking app, with ideally one day on the weekend, so that I could see what happens when they're out of their habits, so I could take a closer look at what they were actually doing. Objectively, taking the food and turning it into numbers and then showing them what was up. Not just by creating a plan that they wouldn't follow, but by showing them what was holding them back currently from reaching their goals. And most importantly, show them why they weren't getting leaner or gaining muscle or performing well. This step served two big purposes. The first one was getting them involved. Essentially, they were doing some of the work early, which pre-qualified them that they would take some action steps later. And number two, it gave me an opportunity to flash my knowledge and show them that I had a path to results. So I started to do things differently. I started to do things this way. And this is a process that I formulated over years of nutrition coaching. No more having people not follow through and doing a bunch of work that would just be wasted and getting burnt out. This was putting my passion into action and turning it into an actual business. It was how I got my first paying client, who was just someone in the gym that was curious about what I was doing and why I was looking so lean. So I just showed him in his own nutrition. And then it's how I got my next 100 paying nutrition clients. This process is amazing at taking people from curious and interested about nutrition and fitness and what it could mean to them and actually paying for the next step. Now I am going to spend the rest of this video video walking you through this process step by step, so I do want you to watch the rest. But I'm also gonna put together a completely free training on it. We call this the free nutrition report because it's essentially like a report card that you give to a client that grades them on what they're currently doing, providing suggestions and essentially pitching them on coaching in the next step. So if you want the templates, the scripts, and the exact words I use in this process, and even some examples of me doing it, go to the first link in the description below to get instant access on this training once you're done watching the video. But now let's talk about what we actually do once we have this data. We show them what is holding them back, and this is something called the assessment process. We actually used to call this the assessment in the Dr. Mark method, and sometimes we still do, but we use different language now because it's easier for our clients to understand. Because no one wants an assessment, free or paid. What they really want is someone to diagnose or fix their problems and provide them with some solutions so they can finally get results. So if I can do something that will point out what they're doing wrong and provide some direction, it's magic. So you know that person that's constantly asking you questions in the break room at work around nutrition, or that high school friend that magically appears once a year in your Facebook Messenger asking you about if they should do that new diet? You now have a step-by-step process where you can say, that's a great question. Let me take a closer look at what you're doing right now and show you what's holding you back from reaching your goals. Completely free of charge. And if you like what you hear and you see value in working together, I'll tell you a little bit more about my coaching, which we'll detail in a second. But for now, since you have a better understanding of someone's goals and what they're doing with their nutrition, their habits, their eating, and what that looks like objectively, you can start to present it to them. And since I've done this process nearly 5,000 times now, I'm nearly certain this is what you're gonna find. So you get their tracking data, their calories and macronutrients, and you take a look at it on average over 5 days. We wanna get a sense of what they regularly consume most days, and averages do a good job of that. There are 3 scenarios that most potential clients fall into, and the first one is not enough protein. Most people that wanna improve their body composition, which is most of our nutrition clients, they're not eating enough protein. Not enough protein keeps them hungry, it doesn't allow them to build any muscle, they have low energy, and it keeps them sick. They need to eat more protein, usually a few servings more per day. And the second scenario is undereating, and it typically looks like undereating mixed with overeating. So they're gonna report back to you that they're not consuming a lot of calories, which doesn't make tons of sense if the person presenting to you is somewhat overweight. But people are gonna report to you what they think they should be eating instead of what they typically do, and there's gonna be some underestimating as well. And this also highlights a really common problem, which is quote unquote eating healthy tends to be undereating and not enough food, which leads to over consuming food in different social situations or just being overly restrictive, which is going to lead to some binging. You can point this out and encourage them to eat more food. Now, this last scenario isn't as common, but it does happen. And typically what happens is their calories are good, their macronutrients look good as well, and they actually lose some weight through this 3 to 5 day tracking period. They think you're a wizard. The third scenario is everything looks good and you should stay there. If things start moving in the right direction right off the bat, it's usually based on the principle of why all diets work, which is now people are being more mindful and aware of what they're eating. This in itself goes a long way. And for this person, you can just encourage them to continue to eat like this as long as they see progress. Once we've assessed what is holding them back from reaching their goals, we're gonna pitch it to them in an email. You're gonna get the exact template for this at the link below, but let me explain to you how it actually works in the pitch. Here's what's cool about this. The person that you're talking to, they've probably tried a million different diets, but no one's actually ever taken the time to look at what they're currently doing and provided some insight. This is so different, and the reason it will be successful is that it's coming from you and you're educated and you know what you're doing and you care, and it's personal and individual and people will love it. So here's how you present it to them now, so you can seal the deal and wow them and get a paying nutrition client.
So we're going to do this all via an email. So from the actual tracking data, I would just take the values here from their 5 days worth of data and this little handy chart here, and I'd paste it right into an email. And we're going to do it all corresponding that way. And I would use a video-based software to now actually talk over what we're seeing. So I'd be like, hey, client, here's what I'm seeing based on, your 5 days worth of data and your tracking information. And here's what we're looking at in terms of macronutrients and calories and how it corresponds to your goals and what's holding you back. I'd point some stuff out. Here's what needs attention. Here's what needs to change. Here's what needs to look a little bit different. I'd give them some actionable strategies. And once I've done that and I provided them with this feedback, the first time they probably ever had it, had all that help they're probably going to feel a little indebted. They're probably going to want to know a little bit more. They're probably going to be interested in what is the next step. And then I'm going to talk about the next step. So based on all this information and what you're trying to accomplish and what I've been able to see here, I think you'd be a really good fit for my coaching. So let me tell you all about that. Tell them about coaching, what it would look like, then include some sort of, I'll hold you a spot for coaching if you'd like to decide till this date. Remember, sometimes deadlines drive decisions. So we want to put that in place. And then from there, you can make a decision and we'll move forward in a coaching relationship. Based on all this, I think it'd be a really good fit. So let's talk about what that would look like. You can either include the price or you can talk about, hey, let me know by this date and we'll then talk about next steps and investment and all that stuff and then go from there. If you put this process on paper and do it, you're going to take people from curious and turn them into paying clients just because you provided so much value. So that's what I would do in this step. Remember, you're going to get a full script with all this stuff here, and it's an actual email that you can use at the link below, but stay tuned for that.
And that's it, folks. That's the step-by-step strategy that allowed me to land my first 100 paying nutrition clients. So I know it's going to help you land your first one and many more. Now is the time to go to the link below so you can get all the right tools and templates and recreate this process for yourself. You're going to love it. Now, as great as all those tips are, if you're really serious about starting a nutrition coaching business, the next thing I'll have you do is check out this video I've linked up right here. Once you have a paying client, you need to know how to coach them. So we got to spend some time learning about the weekly check-in process. So make sure to check it out now, and I'll see you in the next video.